Hello people. Today I want to talk about the grandmother's perspective. Being a grandmother myself, absolutely adore my grandchildren. In fact, it's a different sort of love to your own children. You can't describe it. And I mean, a little bit of background with my mum. My mum was Nana. Her and my daughter, my oldest daughter, had a very special bond. And me and Mum didn't always see eye to eye. She always took me back in when I needed a roof over my head. But, we didn't... She was a battered wife and married to a narcissist, so she was very negative and, but do you know what? She was wise beyond even her knowledge. She was so downbeaten. But sometimes it'll be 5 years next month since she died, and sometimes, I would say I've learnt an awful lot in that 5 years that my mother taught me that I didn't appreciate when she was alive, and I thank her for that. And I hope when she's looking down on me, she's very proud now, because I went back to look after her in her final years and I didn't do a very good job really. I was working full time, I was in a relationship with a narcissist and very stressed, and I think all that came to a head a couple of years later after she died. But anyway, here I am today, and I see what the government, what the establishment are doing to family. They've been doing it for a lot of years, and I feel sorry for this generation of parents now, because they started on them when they were very young. They've been breaking down the family unit for a lot of years. In the 60s they encouraged the baby boomers so that people would sell off their assets and have a good time. They introduced this contraceptive pill and made divorce easier. And then they confused... Well, in the 70s they brought out sex, drugs and rock and roll, and it was all about that, free love and breaking down relationships. Let's just have one partner after another instead of settling down and having a family unit. All to break down the family unit. And unfortunately what I see today, by the messages I get from grandparents who their children have had children, and they've maybe been taken into care or they're at risk of, and the grandparents miss out. And I had a message last night about the child's been taken into care, the grandparents, the daughter is saying things to social services against her parents, so they're cutting their contact with them. I mean, I know, see, you're adults, you need to sort your shit out. Once you get the social services involved, that child loses their family, they lose their identity. If you can't see how valuable grandparents are, and don't get me wrong, I mean, if your parent or your child is a narcissist, it's going to be a very difficult relationship and it's going to be frustrating. But you've got to put the child at the centre. You've got to put your differences aside. You've got to sort out whatever. If you want to blame your parents for how you turned out, fine. But at some point you've got to take responsibility for it. At some point you become a parent, and that child is going to blame you for how they turned out. So you better watch it, because what goes around comes around, believe you me. I just want the families to come back together. I just want children and parents to try get along. Bring other family members in if you need to. Have a family group conference, have a family meeting. Talk about what's the best for the child. Talk about, listen. It's listening. It's not even talking, it's listening. People don't listen to each other. They're too busy hanging on to whatever criticism they feel they've been given, or, all that shit's not important. Believe you me, it's not important. There'll come a day when you wish you'd done things differently. There'll come a day when you wish you'd kept your family together. And if that means being humble, swallowing your pride, and getting on your knees if you have to make up with a family member, accepting that family member for who they are and helping them through the difficult times, instead of them going to services who then get involved, take the child, and then what life's that child got? The lucky ones get adopted out to a nice family and they live happily ever after. They'll always wonder who the family are and why they didn't stay with them. And those that don't, the many unfortunate ones that go through the care system. If there's a sibling group that gets split up, I've had a woman contact me recently, her 4 children have gone into care. They've already told her before the next court case that if they win, the 2 younger ones will be adopted out, but the 2 older ones, they've already split them up. You know, I'm going to have to try and get an interview with these parents and grandparents. But seriously, folks, you've got to think about pulling those family bonds back together, because at the end of the day, that's what you've got, that's all you've got. The establishment don't care about you, all they care is making money. How much money can they make off each child? What evidence can they gather so that they can take that child and make that money off them? You know? And those that do stay with the families, and the families are struggling, where's the help? Where's the coordination? Where are the people that are supposed to be bringing those families together? There isn't any, because that's not the plan. That's not on the agenda. They don't want families staying together. They don't want strong family units, because strong family units build strong communities. Strong communities don't take the shit that they dole out. Strong communities decide what they want for their community. They're not dictated to by an establishment following an agenda to destroy family. You know, I know how bright my grandchildren are. They know who people are. They know what's going on. And they're destroyed by the system. Absolutely destroyed. They have no care for what happens to that baby. If you've got older children and you're pregnant or you've got a baby, they will go after those older children in order to take that baby. And you know what? As soon as they've got them, oh, by the way, the younger one's likely to be adopted out. Well, there you go. Closed family courts, corrupt to the hilt, with nowhere for these parents and grandparents to go. I mean, what advice am I supposed to give her? She's written to the court, the family court. She's emailed them, but she's had no response. Typical story. So come on, folks. If you've got families in your community that need help, talk to them. Offer them some help if you can give that help. You know, we've been splintered off. We've been, you know, they created a society of, you know, everyone for themselves. Where there's a blame, there's a claim. Who can we make responsible for our actions? How can we avoid taking responsibility? Well, guess what? Parents can't avoid taking responsibility. And to all you shit parents out there who are so selfish and so narcissistic that you don't give a shit about what happens to your child, then wake up. Wake up, because that's going to be bad karma for you. Every child's born into a family is a gift. And if you can't see the gift you're presented with, then I pity you for the future, because it's a sad, lonely existence. I mean, if you're a narcissist, you maybe don't care, but, you know, all these tortured souls out there, that's what breaks my heart. All of these kids losing their family members, grandparents, not having that relationship ripped away from them, how special that is, and how important it is for the grandchildren. They need the grandparents. You know, fair enough if your parent, your grandparent is a child abuser or a paedophile or something, you know, kick them out their family completely, you know, give them what they deserve. Protect your children first and foremost. But just think about where your loyalty lies. And if it's just with yourself, give yourself a shake, especially if you're a parent. And if you're a grandparent, picking fault with the mother of your child because she's not right for your son, have a second think, because he's chosen her. And if you make her an enemy, you're going to miss out. It's not worth it. You've got to put the children first. You don't have to like everybody, but you can get along with people if you put your mind to it. You know, you only have to find the good in people. There's always good in somebody, even just the fact that they've given you a grandchild. And that's just to those that the, you know, the grandmothers who make life difficult for the mother of the child when they're married to their sons. But also there's those grandmothers, one in particular, she's desperate to see her grandchildren, and you know, she's buying gifts for them and she's not allowed to give them to them. She knows that this mother's not looking after the children properly. They're playing in an alley where there's needles, there's paedophiles up the road. All she wants to do is protect her grandchildren. Social services don't seem to care about that one. They don't seem to care about the protection of those children. But yet there's parents out there that, just because they've been in a difficult situation, they're having the children removed. This is where the family needs to step up. You know, oh, not my responsibility. Well, every child is everyone's responsibility. They're the future generation. The more that we destroy the souls of these children, what future have they got, you know? I know everyone's got the crosses to bear and everyone has lessons to learn, and life is lessons and blessings, even the hardest times give the most powerful lessons, and nothing ever stays the same, everything changes. So you've got to just ride the waves, the peaks and troughs, the highs and the lows, because nothing ever stays the same. So I just want people to focus on, are they doing the best for their children? Are they allowing that child to build their family group, their unit, their tribe, and take the resources from all that's offered from that tribe, rather than isolating them or, you know, being too self-absorbed to take the right care for them. So to every grandmother out there, grandparent out there that's not getting to see your grandchildren, my absolute heart bleeds for you. You know, so I think, you know, let's work on building families back up. Let's work on bringing mothers and grandmothers and fathers and grandfathers back together, aunties, uncles, you know. Stop being so defensive and start protecting. That's all we can do. We've got to get the establishment out of our homes and out of our families, destroying them, destroying our children. You know, the education system is another one, but that's for another day. All right, I'll say goodbye for now.